with this goaltending drama, it might alter how the Canucks play, at least to start the season. And it would go against what Rick Tocchet said both in the spring and over the summer, where he talked about how the Canucks, or he felt regrets with how the Canucks played last season offensively. Maybe that the structure was a bit too tight and there wasn't enough offensive creativity there. Now, the Canucks were an incredibly efficient team, the highest shooting percentage in the NHL at even strength. Could be the higher shooting percentage overall. I'd have to double check that. But your Vancouver Canucks were, again, an incredibly efficient team offensively last season. But that is really hard to repeat. And we talked all about that PDO stuff, blah, blah, blah. And look, the Canucks, I believe, will be an above average team in terms of shooting percentage with the players they have on this team. But man, oh man, it's a hard thing to sustain in this league because even the best go through slumps. And, we saw with the Canucks stars last season. Of course, Pettersson went through a bit of a slump. But for the most part, guys were really punching above their weight last season, right? JT Miller, 100 points. Brock Besser, 40 goals. Think of some of the depth guys too. Nils Höglander, shooting almost 25% overall. Dakota Joshua shooting over 20% last season. There was a lot of things that went right for this Canucks team offensively. And sure enough, last season, in all situations during the regular season, they tied with the Tampa Bay Lightning for the highest shooting percentage in the NHL, shooting 11.99%. I'm just saying, that is damn hard to sustain. And with this Canucks team, I think Rick Tocchet does want to open things up offensively. He wants these guys to be more creative. And to be quite honest, he has to let this team be more creative. They have to find ways to create more offense. Whether that's being a bit stronger on the boards, whether that's these guys scheming things up offensively. Really in the NHL, you can have set plays off the face-off, but the rest of it is pretty hard to do, especially in a game as fast as the NHL. But this team needs to find ways to create more offense because, two things really scare me next season, putting the goaltending help aside, and it's the depth on this defense, first and foremost, and regression. Because this Canucks team did not create enough of their own luck last season. And I was digging back into it prior to hopping on here on Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. Like and subscribe. Do us a solid. Love you a long time. Your Vancouver Canucks in the playoffs. We all know it. They barely got the puck on net. They averaged a shade over 20 shots per game. And I dug back about 10 years. The 10 years prior, no team was even close to the Vancouver Canucks. I believe the lowest number I saw was the Florida Panthers in 2019-20. They averaged 23 shots a game. The Vancouver Canucks barely got the puck on net in the playoffs. And it was a similar story in the regular season. They were a bottom 5 team in terms of shots on net, especially in the second half of the season. They were one of the lowest shooting teams in the NHL, down there with some of the worst teams in the league. The Canucks need to create more of their own luck next season. And my concern is, with Demko on 100%, maybe you got to play Shilovs more. Maybe Patera gets some games. Maybe it's Lankin and Ranta. Who knows? There is a lot of uncertainty despite the good news we got today about Demko and Shilovs. But I think if there's uncertainty in net, the tendency is to rely on your structure, play tighter defensively. And the cost of that is limiting some of that offensive creativity. The Vancouver Canucks are going to be hard-pressed to score at the rate they did last season if they shoot the puck as little as they did in the regular season and the playoffs. This team needs to find ways to be more creative offensively. And I think trying to limit that creativity based on the potential goaltending situation and the uncertainty there could be the biggest mistake the Canucks make in 2024-25. They need to open things up. They need to let the stars play. They need to rely on their speed, their forechecking. They need to get more pucks on net. Maybe get some greasier goals as well. This is a team that likes to rely on their skill. There are ways to open things up offensively. There's ways to be creative, even if it's not quite as sexy as some goals we see out there. But the Canucks need to find ways to get more than 20 shots on net a game because they are not going to win a lot of games, especially in the postseason, if they shoot that little. Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. Hit us up in the comments. What is the biggest mistake the Canucks can make next season? And are you worried about the Canucks offensively at all? Seems weird to say. They scored a lot of goals last season. But February, March, April, May were not banner months for the Canucks in terms of goals or shots on net.